Hey guys, Jarrell here, GreyWolf TV, and we've got a brand new series for you. And now for something completely different. You may have noticed a slight change. We have got a guest appearance. This is the wife, Dharma.
Hello!
And we've decided to do a couple reaction. We ran a poll on the channel about a week ago, and we got an overall positive response that we were going to introduce a new show and the wife at the same time. The show that we're going with is Dark from Netflix, and I felt, with this being the type of show that it is, that I could possibly need some help with this, because I've heard it's quite a complicated show and has a lot of nuances to it. It's also not in English, and there was quite a bit of a debate about that as well. Now then, we did actually record the first, about 15 minutes or so? We decided after the poll to go with the English dubbed version. However, we got 15 minutes in and we started to notice it wasn't quite up to par, so we ran a little experiment and we found a bit of an emotional scene and we watched it in the dub version, and then we ran it back and we watched it in the German version with the subtitles, and it did seem to
made a difference.
Quite a bit of a difference. So you are in effect watching take 2 of this. So we stopped it right there before we saw any more. So this is actually going to be in the original language, like everyone said we should have done in the first place. So that is what we're going with. All I can tell you that we know about the show is it first premiered on Netflix in 2017. There's 2 seasons, and we're picking this up probably at the right point now because it's a 3-season show, and they have just announced that season 3 is going to premiere later this year. So it's the right time to get onto it now. So, without further ado, wife, Dharma, and myself are going to react to this show, and we're going to try and do our very best for you guys, and I hope you enjoy it and I hope you stick through the show with us. So let's get on with things. This is Dark, Season 1, Episode 1.
Wir vertrauen darauf, dass die Zeit linear verläuft. Aber die Unterscheidung von Vergangenheit, Gegenwart und Zukunft ist nichts als eine Illusion.
Intriguing. Not something I could ever do.
No. It's too violent a death.
It is. I'd never step off. I mean, I'd probably trip. At least I've got it right. Europeans do bone naked.
I don't think I've done that since I was a teenager.
I've never snuck out.
Warum gegangen ist? Warum so? Warum sich scheiße normal erhängt hat? Warum kein Wort hinterlassen hat? Nichts, das diese ganze Scheiße erklärt.
Im Zuge des von der Bundesregierung schrittweise geplanten Austritts aus der Kernenergie wird nun aber auch der Meiner Winden 2020 vom Netz gehen müssen.
Erster Schultag. Eine Riesenschlange beim Bäcker. Die Apokalypse naht. Kommst du zum Essen, Martha?
Ulrich.
Lies nicht bei den Jacken.
Aua! Uns ist hier niemand egal. Wir haben 172 Befragungen durchgeführt, haben die Untersuchungen auf Nachbarn und Freunde ausgeweitet. Wir haben den ganzen Wald durchkämmt, die Häuser und Keller der angrenzenden Bewohner durchsucht. 23 Beamte und über 50 Freiwillige suchen seit Tagen nach eurem Sohn.
13 Tage sind es hier.
Ihr wisst sicher alle, dass Erik seit jetzt fast 2 Wochen verschwunden ist. Ich möchte euch sagen, dass wenn ihr Redebedarf habt, ihr Fragen habt oder vielleicht auch wenn ihr etwas über das Verschwinden von Erik wissen solltet, dass ihr jederzeit zu uns kommen könnt.
Niemand, der ihn nach dem Training gesehen hat. Keine Spur, nichts.
She just
Als hätte sich in
vanished.
Luft aufgelöst.
Vielleicht will er einfach nicht gefunden werden.
Das Geld unterm Bett, sein Handy. Wenn du abhaust, nimmst es doch mit.
She didn't take his phone.
Teenagers don't run away without a phone.
That's not right.
Eriks Vater fährt einen Kleintransporter.
Glaubst du nicht, dass der damit was zu tun hat?
Warum bist du dir eigentlich so sicher, dass Erik abgehauen ist?
Das hier ist Winden. Hier sagen sich der Fuchs und der Hase gute Nacht.
Das war aber nicht immer so.
Ich habe wieder was im Wald gesehen. Eine dunkle Gestalt mit einem riesigen Kopf.
Mama.
Du glaubst mir nicht. Es gibt Dinge da draußen, die wir mit unserem kleinen Verstand niemals begreifen werden. Die Sache mit diesem verschwundenen Erik, wie bei deinem Bruder damals. Alles wiederholt sich.
Uh-oh.
Alles ist genauso wie vor 33 Jahren.
Interesting.
Es wird wieder passieren. Wieder passieren.
The older generation here seem to know.
Yeah. Well, they'd have lived through it twice by now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they would have done.
Yeah. And that isn't on like VH. Whoa! Okay. Uh-oh. That ain't your hair.
Oh, she may be onto him.
In einem Jahr soll hier alles vorbei sein. Fast auf den Tag genau vor 33 Jahren bin ich nach Hause gekommen.
What a surprise.
Zu Ende geht. Aber alles hat seine Zeit.
Yeah.
I want to know what this letter says.
Yeah.
Because it's time to open it now, isn't it? It's got to be 10 p.m. by now.
She's gonna look at the clock.
Oh no. No, not yet.
Ich habe dir eine SMS geschrieben, als du weg warst. Nicht nur eine. Aber ich habe die nie abgeschickt. Ich glaube, ich habe gerade ein Déjà-vu. Das Licht, der Wald, als ob das alles schon mal passiert ist.
Elternversammlung. Und Heider hat die Kotzerei, also hab ich den jetzt an der Backe.
Hi Jonas. Ultimate Fistbump?
Hey, du bringst jetzt sofort wieder zurück?
Bring du den doch wieder zurück.
Oh, entspannt euch mal. Ich bin ja kein Baby mehr.
Aber auch welche Maßnahmen für mehr Sicherheit sorgen könnten.
Was denn für Maßnahmen? Du hast doch gerade gehört, dass nicht klar ist, dass überhaupt was passiert ist.
Ja, aber bis das geklärt ist, müssen wir von allem ausgehen. Auch, dass Erik eben nicht einfach abgehauen ist.
Diese Panikmacherei ist doch lächerlich.
Was glaubt ihr, was mit Erik passiert ist? Bei uns in der Klasse sagen die, dass er von jemandem entführt wurde, der ihn jetzt in seinen Keller gesperrt hat.
They're right.
You're not far wrong.
Der ist einfach abgehauen.
Aber es kann doch sein. Also, dass er irgendwo eingesperrt ist und nicht mehr raus kann.
Mein Vater hat immer gesagt, Gut und Böse sind eine Frage der Perspektive.
Vielleicht kümmerst du dich einfach mal um deine eigenen Probleme.
Oh.
Ich habe keine Ahnung, wovon du redest.
Seems you're last to know.
Es wird wieder
There
passieren.
you go.
Helge.
Was machst du hier?
Ist es schon zu spät? Es wird wieder passieren.
Is it 10:13? Go, go, go.
I don't think it will.
Don't do that.
Nope.
Oh, you scumbag.
Das war mal hier.
Sucht ihr das? Laut Definition des Begriffs Besitz, also der Herrschaft einer Person über eine Sache, gehört das momentan noch mir. Was da drin ist, ist locker 500 wert. Für 200 wechselt es den Besitzer. Papi hat doch so viel Geld.
Auf zu quatschen. Gib mir einfach den Beutel.
You just pushed down a girl.
Balls.
Oh!
That's not good.
Was ist denn das?
Scheiße, indeed.
Hey, Scheiße.
What the hell? It's panic.
Mikkel!
What the f...
He's only been in there 4 months.
Not going to tell us what's in the letter, is it?
Was war denn? Keine Ahnung! Wo sind Jonas und Mikkel?
You left him behind.
Yeah.
Die sind doch nicht bei euch!
War doch bei dir!
He knows.
Zu spät.
Oh, that's not
It's
good.
an Amber Alert. Ah, Francisca's your kid. Oh, I do like this. This is fit lovely. The score.
Yeah, the score's good. I like it.
Mikkel! Mikkel! Mikkel!
It just doesn't make sense.
His eyes have been burned away. In fact, a whole strip around his head has been burned away.
Yeah.
Das ist nicht Mikkel.
Nope, that's
There's
your brother
your
that
woman.
went missing in 1986, bruh. Yeah.
And it's still playing.
Which isn't right. That's what's on that boy's body.
Burned.
Yeah.
Right, I don't know about anyone else, but I'm intrigued. Are you?
I want to binge the rest of it right now.
Yeah, no,
Intrigued.
we can't binge it. She as soon as she sees something that she wants to watch, she just wants to just go and pick a tablet up, go to bed and just watch the rest of it, which you're not allowed to do.
I'm a millennial who just want to watch everything now, okay?
I am very intrigued. I think the acting is much better in German. I think you guys were right. I seem to be following it perfectly okay so far.
Yeah.
The soundtrack, the score, whatever you want to call it, is done very tastefully. It's quite artful. It's quite surreal. I don't know who has done the soundtrack for this, but I may have to look it up because it's ticking all the right boxes and hitting all the right noises in my head. I don't know about you.
It's taking all the right notes. It's taking a scene like the devastation of realizing that you're a police officer and your child has just disappeared in the woods, and that's a heartbreaking scene. And instead of the sheer devastation being wrought on camera, you took it away. We're uncomfortable watching it, and you've taken us away by putting that music in there, and you can show us the grief without having to force it down our necks with the sound acting.
Yeah, it's that type of music's made it a little bit more distant.
It's made it palatable.
Yeah.
You're aware you watched it happen, but you're not freaked out entirely by it.
So, what we can gather from this, or what I've gathered from this so far, is I'm not sure how the nuclear power plant ties in. I'm not sure whether it does or it doesn't, other than the fact that obviously it was constructed around the same time as whatever these occurrences are. 33 years ago was when that was put into service, and it's now 33 years later and it's about to be retired.
Yeah.
And we've obviously got generations of people in this town who have lived through probably 66 years of this, i.e. 2 periods of this happening before, and they seem to know what's going on.
Yeah.
And no one is listening to them other than people of their own age group who possibly have gone through this with them before and have been in this town probably all of their lives. And this kid that's gone missing, the first one that's gone missing, that we've just seen at the end there, has clearly vanished without trace and is back in 1986. And now this other kid has just vanished back to the same place, and the father has just in effect swapped places.
Maybe.
I think.
I think we can't say for certain yet. I think maybe on the previous cycle when kids disappeared, maybe they haven't come back yet. Maybe this is the first time that we've got a return. The 1986
Possibly.
boy disappeared. There's no indication in the first episode that someone else reappeared from 1953 when the nuclear power plant opened the first time around. So maybe the reason no one's listening to them is because you go, well, kids who went missing 33 years ago, well, yeah, that's just a statistic that you get in any town or city. People disappear. Maybe this is this cycle, something new's happening. I don't know.
No. What I'm also trying to piece in is from the very start of the show with the father, when he hung himself, he wrote that letter.
Yeah.
For it to be only opened on the 4th of November at 22:13 p.m. He knew when this event
was going to
take place again. One, how did he know that?
True.
And two, why did he commit suicide? Is it because of the foreknowledge of this, what has already happened to him, and where has he been? So, I am very intrigued. Obviously, it's only given us a few little bits and pieces so far of the jigsaw, and it is only the very pilot episode. But that is more than enough to hook you into this show. And I have heard from all sources that I have looked at, and from people that I've talked to have said this is a very, very underrated show. Possibly just because a lot of people aren't prepared to watch a dubbed show or a different foreign language show, and that is just not the reason to skip a show at all.
It's criminal.
Absolutely not the reason to skip a show. We were still prepared to watch it in the dubbed version, and even we decided 15 minutes in that it just wasn't giving us the atmosphere that we wanted, so we changed it to this.
I got the first clue when the two adulterers were in bed and they were having the conversation where he's like, will you be there tonight? And she's like, no, Catherine's going to be there. And he's like, but I'll be there. But in the English version, he's like, I'll be there. It was really happy and joyful, and you could see with what was going on with their facial expressions that there was a backstory going on as to, her going, well, I don't think it's a good idea for me to show up and do something where your wife's going to be, when I'm kind of knobbing you on the side without her knowing.
And that's as far as we got. We got to there, and then we stopped the recording and we had a quick discussion, and we said, no, if we're going to do this series, if that's the level of the quality of the audio of the dubbed version, if we're going to experience the show properly, we want to get the full atmosphere of it, and we stopped it and we redid the version that you guys are now watching, whether it's on YouTube or Patreon. This is the version that's going out, and we're going to stick with the German version. And if I start to struggle at some point, she's here to help me, because in case you're wondering why I was erring on the side of caution, I don't have an internal monologue. I'm one of those people that doesn't have an inner voice. I things in pictures and shapes, and a lot of the time, by the time I've read subtitles on a screen, what's actually occurring in front of me as action, I miss. So this kind of show I seem to be okay with. It's when it's fast moving action and stuff, and there's subtitles going on at the same time is when I tend to miss it. So hopefully, as long as there's not too much of that, I should be okay.
And I'm pretty good at threading characters together quite quickly, learning names, learning backstories, learning relationships and connections to people, so I can help him out if he gets a bit stuck.
I understand this is possibly going to be quite a complex show, but I love complex shows. You know I do.
And
I do the 100. I do Fringe. I do Battlestar. I'm all for a complex storyline because it makes you think. It's a much more interesting show. The more twists and turns, the better for me, because there's so many shows out there that just follow a linear path of the normal basic storytelling, and unfortunately a lot of the time you can see where they're going and where characters' development is going, and when they keep throwing spanners in the work to shock you, it's not just to shock you with a complex storyline, it's to fit the actual story rather than just a shock value, and that's why I like this type of show. So we will be continuing.
It's the closest that you're going to be able to get to a novel, because, as you say, without an internal monologue, reading a book is just, you got to read a sentence 4 times before it makes sense, and by the time you get to the end of a page, you've forgotten what's gone on because you're still trying to make sense of that last sentence. So these kind of shows, in my opinion, is closer to a novel. I'm a huge fan of a couple of novelists, 2 horror novels. Dean Koontz and Stephen King, and when it comes to adaptations, it doesn't matter which production company that does it, whether it's a movie or a TV series, because the subject material is always so dark to begin with. They always err on the side of caution when it comes to adaptations, and I do find you don't seem to get that sort of Hollywood hang-up when it comes to things
That's true.
of a European nature. If the story's there, if it existed as a novel, you're going to get it as close to the novel as you can. And I like that I can share these kind of shows with you, because I would watch that if I'd have stumbled across it on Netflix, and it's on my list. I just haven't got around to watching it yet. I would sit there and I'd binge that out in the space of a weekend. So I like that I can share this with you and be on that journey to be able to, you know, if you get a little bit confused, I can be like, well, this is where we've gone wrong.
It's nice to be able to introduce you to the channel and to everyone, and for it to be something a little bit more diverse and something that I've not done before. And it's just coming up as the 6 months anniversary of my channel, and I wanted to introduce my wife to all of you and to do something just a little bit different. So I wonder where this episode 2 is going to go now. Obviously, they're now going to start trying to investigate where this kid has appeared from, because it is not the one that they were looking for.
And that's not 33 years worth of decomp either.
No, that's not. No, it isn't.
Nowhere near.
They're obviously going to have to try and figure out what has burned his face. We have just been given some sort of idea as to what it is. But we don't know what's caused it.
Nope.
So I'm intrigued to see what's going to happen in the next episode. Talking of which, we will be back with the next episode in a week's time. Obviously, we can only do one episode at a time for the time being, because you obviously have other commitments.
I'm a full-time content creator as well on a different platform.
We can only spare enough time to be able to just do one episode per week for now. So I think that will pretty much wrap this episode up for the time being, guys. So thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to episode 2, and we will be back with it next week, guys. So don't forget, please, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to post your comments below. Let me know what you think and what you also thought of the duo reaction, as it's something we haven't done before. And we will be back for episode 2 next week. So until then, guys, thank you very much for watching, and until the next episode, take care.
Toodles.